I'm going to do another round of propagation, and right now I'm going to do an LPS. I'm going to do this trumpet coral, and I think I'm going to get 2 or 3 cuts off of here. Now with this coral, it's best to just break it off with your hands. You don't need a pair of pliers or any cutting instrument. You can usually just grab onto the base of a branch and give it a good tug and it'll crack off, leaving 1 or 2 polyps on the end of a branch. At least that's the way it usually goes. So I'm going to put the camera here where you can see where I'm working, and I'll grab that coral and break off a branch. Okay, we broke the branches off into pieces, and it fell apart into 2 main pieces when I yanked on it, which is okay. This coral was purchased with the intent of continuously propagating it. So now I have 2 medium-sized pieces and 2 frags with several polyps each. And now we'll go to work on the frags, and we'll leave the 2 pieces in the tank to continue growing for future fragmentation. Okay, we're ready to propagate this. We got a couple of new things involved. One is this: we're going to use this aqua stick now instead of the super glue, because I found it works better with LPS. Particularly branching LPS, where the tissue won't grow over where the contact or connection is made, the attachment. That being the case, we can't use super glue because it won't last very long. So we're going to use this aqua stick epoxy putty stuff. And I'll show you how to apply that. In addition, you'll see I have a Dremel tool, and I can't find my cutting disc, but I think the attachment I have will work. What I got to do is cut these coral frags. You can see them here. Those branches are way too long, but they're too thick to be cut with a pair of diagonal cutters safely. I'm going to be cutting up fairly close to the tissue, mostly because the customers I've talked to don't like a real long branchy trumpet coral. They want something that's relatively stubby. And we can't make them too short because, of course, the coral grows into a head, and you don't want the thing to grow into the rock base that it's sitting on. So with all that in mind, let's see what we can do here. I guess the first thing I want to do is examine the frags to see what I want to do here. Now this is 2 polyps, and you can see that they're going to, let's see here. There are 2 polyps involved here, and you can see that they're getting ready to divide each of them into another pair. So I kind of got to decide what I want to do with this. Surely I want to cut it off. If I was going to mount both of them, I'd cut off about where the top of my finger is here. I don't know if you can see that the tissue ends there, and I would cut it about here. But I'm thinking maybe what I want to do is cut it vertically and section it across to give me 2 frags. I think that's what I want to do. So the first thing I want to do is cut it where I want it to be longitudinally, and then split it up into frags. These I don't want to keep out of the water very long because they're not like those SPS where they have this mucus that covers the tissue and protects it. This one here is clearly breaking off into two pieces, and it looks like it's got a branching area here in the top, but it's not separated yet, so I don't want to cut through that. And it looks like at least the polyp on the right is going to soon split. The polyp, there's a polyp down here, and I got to check the health of that. It looks like I see tissue recession there. So if that isn't healthy, I'll just cut that away. So take a look at now. See that there's only a very little bit of tissue left in the middle of this polyp here. So we're just going to cut this off here and call that one frag. Okay, and then the other we're going to cut in sections. So let's do the easy one first. Well, after some more consideration, I don't think I'm going to be able to use the Dremel tool. I don't really have the right grinder for that. And I just spent a couple minutes trying, and I'm unable to cut the material with that Dremel without the grinding wheel. So we're going to have to do the best we can with what we've got. What I'm going to do is still try to cut this. I'm going to use a pair of diagonal cutters and try to nip at it and hope I don't split up too far. I'm basically chiseling away at the base until I'm up where I want to be. I would definitely wear safety goggles doing something like that. You wind up getting a piece of that calcium carbonate in your eye. Okay, that's one. The other needs to be cut across here, and then we need to find a way to split it down the middle. So what I'm going to do is just take it and try to give it some force. Okay, that worked out pretty good. And here I made the cut just below the tissue. Maybe I don't know if I can zoom in on that. Maybe you can see that. If you see there, the cut is just below the tissue line, and that's where I want it. Now the question is, am I going to be able to split it with a pair of diagonal cutters? And I think I'm going to give it a try. The worst that could happen is I perhaps kill one polyp. Yeah, that worked out pretty good. So now I've got 2 polyps that can be mounted. Okay, I've selected 2 bulkier rocks. They're fairly heavy and solid, which should do a nice job of holding these frags. And I think I want to do, this looks like a good spot for that one. It's got a little bit of a ball underneath, so you can prop that up. I want to mount it here for one, and then this has a little bit of a longer dimension. Maybe that's not the one I want. Well, these are definitely interesting. Turns out I have a couple like wafers. They're very thin. They might make a pretty good base. So you can mount one to this and 2 of the other ones to the wafer. And I don't think I need quite that much. I'll break off a piece here. Not like that. This calcium carbonate is easy to work with. It breaks real easy. And now, what I'd like to do is chisel out an area here on this rock in order to provide an indentation for the polyp to be in. And that'll give it a little more mechanical stability. You can just get in there. I'm just going to get in there and chisel an area away here. As I say, this material is very easy to work with. It just grinds away. Well, maybe here I could use the Dremel. We'll try and see if I got the right tool here for the job. Kind of like a dentist. Yeah, it's not a very good tool. I need something better than the end that I have on there. Well, maybe the old screwdriver would do a better job. I lost my grinding wheel on that Dremel some time ago, and I just never replaced it. So you have to take care of one of these days. So I got kind of a hole started in here. Or an indentation. Set off. That's kind of a crater here. And we'll see if this, I'll put the double on there, see how that's going to fit. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I think I want just a little deeper. You can do a pretty good job on this rock by just twisting and pushing along with this screwdriver.